Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. It's Rock and Roll's Black Connection with a weekly comic book roundup. We get things started with the War of the Realms tie-ins, and oh boy, we got a bunch this week. So we'll start off with Avengers number 19. Let's see. I'm not really. Oh, it doesn't really say about. It doesn't give you a when it takes place, but the issue is narrated by Gorilla Man. And we find out he is in. The issue starts off early on during the War of the Realms. He's talking with Ursa Major, who apparently the two of them have. One, the two have history, and two, Ursa Major's kind of become Black Panther's eyes at least within the Winter Guard. However, their meeting is interrupted by Kazar, who explains that something's wrong. After all, the cell phone has no signal, which is supposed to work even in the negative zone. So he arrives at the mountain, and it turns out after Doctor Strange's gotten everyone there from after War of the Realms number 2, and Black Panther ends up telling. Oh, I begin this. Black Panther tells Gorilla Man that he's chief of security for the mountain, and he's about to earn the title. So they go through. We get shown the various strike teams going off, and while the various strike forces are off doing their thing, Asgardian forces, Malekith's forces, I should say, are headed towards Avengers Mountain. And Gorilla Man fights them off. As does Kazar. Turns out that they now know where Roxxon is hiding in Antarctica. Anyway, after the battle, he's in the infirmary after having been looked at by Dr. Nemesis, alongside Odin. Basically, I know the look. God spoke to you. Apparently, the Celestial that is Avengers Mountain, spoke to Gorilla Man, and Odin explains that whatever showed or told him is for him and him alone. And he also, word of advice: when gods talk to you, it's for a reason. And it turns out that, however, during the Vampire Civil War, Gorilla Man made a deal with the vampires. He serves Dracula, he serves the Legion of the Unliving, and he is a loyal subject of the Kingdom of the Damned. And that is Avengers number 19. Next up, we've got as Guardians of the Galaxy number 9. So, one thing to keep in mind, Brunhild, the Valkyrie, was bound to the immortal archaeologist named Annabelle Riggs. Well, in the end of War of the Realms number 2, Brunhilde died. And so her girlfriend is kind of not entirely sure how to go about this because she knows that her girlfriend is bound to a superhero who just died, but they can't be in the same place at the same time. So maybe her girlfriend's still alive. So Clea, on off girlfriend of Doctor Strange, comes to visit her and explains to her that yeah, hey, Annabelle's alive, and you and me are going to go rescue her. But they're also going to get some help. They end up getting some help from from Throg, Thunderstrike, and Executioner. Angela has other matters to tend to. So it's we learn that we see what happened when Valkyrie died. Apparently, in the mists of Valhalla, she has a shack of sorts, and that's where Annabelle would go when Valkyrie was on the mortal plane. And then Valkyrie would go back there when Annabelle was on the mortal plane. And kind of, oh well, that so Annabelle kind of realizes, oh, if you're here and I'm here, oh. But Valkyrie was like, hey, get out of here, go. You need to live. And so Clea and the members of Clea, Ren, and the three members of the team that came with her arrive in the mist surrounding Valhalla. And it turns out that in the mist, well, first off, only Valkyrie can navigate the mist around Valhalla. Those who seek Valhalla without them are lost. When Valkyrie died, Annabelle would have been cast out among them. Thousands of warriors trapped just outside paradise. Well, those thousands of warriors attack the quintet. But Annabelle makes her way to the team. And they leave. And it turns out that Valkyrie basically told everyone to, go kick the asses of the enemies of the world. Also, that other thing she was told was that Malekith brought a fight to their world, and their allies, the allies of men, need to see people fighting for it, as do their enemies. So, next issue is going to be, at the very least, Angela, if not also the rest of the team, against the War Angels. Alright, moving on to Venom number 14. So, I was able to pick up Venom number 13 last month, sadly. But, so apparently, Eddie Brock is no longer bound to the symbiote. And is in fact he is raising his kid. So, the Venom tie-in story takes place during the beginnings of the War of the Realms. And Eddie is basically just trying to figure out how to, is trying to do the right thing. He's managed to get a weapon of sorts from a war witch. It's kind of like it's kind of like the symbiote, but magical. And so he's fighting off the forces of he's fighting off Malekith's forces. Remember, and using all the darkness and everything to empower himself. But he's up against the current Jack-o'-lantern. And turns out that Eddie still gave himself a weakness to fire. Right, as Jack-o'-lantern puts it, let me get this straight. You use an elven artifact to give yourself the suit of your dreams. All the strength, the ferocity, the power, and even with the breath of your imagination in hand, you still made yourself vulnerable to fire. But, the fight continues. At one point, in fact, Venom has to giant size himself and take on some frost giants. Which he does. Then he kind of changes how he looks to being more, well, Viking-like. And yeah. However, Jack Leonard decides he's going to take a cue from Venom, and instead of thinking he's small, he's just going to start setting the entire town on fire. The entire city. Which includes the building that Eddie Brock's son Dylan is hiding out in. Alrighty. Moving on to War of the Realms Strike Force, Land of Giants. This one-shot focuses on Cap and his group of Avengers who went into Jotunheim to find and save Thor. We get the preparation, which we begin with Spider-Man thinking about things, and I guess composing in his mind a letter to MJ. Then Cap shows up and it's like, hey, you're needed. And when he's asked how he got up there, well, flying horse. Which Spider-Man gets to ride on. So, Cap explains the mission, which is to travel via the Rainbow Bridge to the frozen realm of Jotunheim and rescue Thor from the clutches of the Frost Giants. Which, admittedly, Iron Fist rightly points out is not a mission. It should be called a quest. Then Cap explains part of the roster. We have a hunter, Logan, a man who can withstand the full fury of the inhabitants of Jotunheim, Luke Cage, and a man who can fell a frost giant with a single blow, Iron Fist. So they arm up with Iron Fist taking the twin swords of Sprague. All in Jotunheim fear their edges. Luke Cage picks up the Hammer of Rock. Giants crack like eggs beneath its blows. Logan, he's got his claws. And Cap hands Spidey a shield because, well, as Cap is well aware, it can be useful. Then Wolverine slaps a magic helm on his head. Then Daredevil sends the team where they need to go. They're immediately joined by a squadron of Pegasuses. So they get to Jotunheim. They figure best way to find Thor: follow the flowing river of giant blood. They're promptly attacked by Frostgiant archers, and most of the horses are taken down. By the way, Spider-Man is named his Pegasus Buttercup. But the Avengers get to they take down the giants. And turns out that the helm allows Spider-Man to communicate with the the Pegasus. Everyone's horse, except with the exception of Spider-Man, has sadly fallen. They notice Buttercup bowing, and so Spidey suggests they join her, and Wolverine promptly does the same, and Iron Fist is kind of we should bow to the horses, though. Yeah, But yeah, Spider-Man has a conversation with the horse, and he's speaking, or he can understand and speak horse. Seeing it from Spider-Man's perspective, it's a conversation between a flying horse and Spider-Man. From everyone else's perspective, it's Spider-Man making horse noises. They find Thor much like at the end of is that War of the Realms number 3? Yeah. We get a lot more of the battle against the Frost Giants. But when all is said and done, sadly, Buttercup also dies. And against her wishes, they bury her. They bury her in Jotunheim. Oh, wait, no. They bury her. They take her back to Avengers Mountain, where they bury her. They all take a moment and, to thank her for what she did, for her sacrifice. Alrighty. Moving on to the New Agents of Atlas, number 2. Where we left off, the Queen of Cinders was taking over Asia. So we start off in Shanghai. Some of the fire goblins are, well, they're being an invading force, but they're attacked by Swordmaster as well as Arrow, Wave, and Pele, the Hawaiian goddess of fire and lava. However, the fire goblins managed to subdue Pele. Back in Seoul, Amadeus Cho, White Fox, Shang-Chi, and Crescent are working on doing what they can to stop the incoming assault. And which also requires them and Silk to free Luna Snow, K-pop star and superhero. Everyone gets pulled from the fight, however, so they can actually come up with a plan, which they do. And that's to sneak into the Queen of Cinders' base. And Amadeus Cho manages to get her out. Though the Queen of Cinders believes that this is all the signs lining up in her favor. And in Shanghai, our four quartet of heroes in Shanghai get teleported to Seoul to join the Agents of Atlas, with Pele being the one to basically say, hey, we all need to work together on this one. And it turns out that the Queen of Cinders is, as she puts, digging deep into Earth's heart and pushing her to madness with alien fire. She plans to melt the ice caps and make the whole world into her fiery new domain. And Pele also says that, we need to work, basically, we need to work together. And Jimmy Woo agrees wholeheartedly. Moving on to Uncanny X-Men #2. So where we left off, the X-Men, with the exception of Wolverine, had been separated after Valkyrie was called into action by Odin. After Moonstar was called into action by Odin, as Moonstar is a Valkyrie. So, turns out that the Wild Huntsman called and been let loose. And, well, Moonstar is out and about. Her and some of the Madroxes managed to fight off part of the Wild Hunt and some Frost Dragons, with some help from Karma as well. Now, a small group of the X-Men had split up and had disappeared when they first got into New York. But it turns out that the X-Men have set up a base of operations in one of the stadiums. And so, they get the survivors there. They're doing what they can to take care of, and they're doing what they can to help people, basically. However, the missing group consists of Hope, Sunspot, a Madrox dupe, and Chamber. Also, Hope is using multiple man's powers through the dupe, through being close to the dupe. But it turns out that, and Wolfsmith's part of their group too. Turns out Malekith has recruited Sabretooth. So they have themselves a bit of a tussle. But then Banshee, Karma, Moonstar, and Havoc step in. And, that was all reunited. But it turns out that Sabretooth managed to get away, and he managed to get away with Wolfsbane. And it turns out that Magik is being held prisoner. The idea being that Malekith wants to use her power to take the place of the Black Bifrost. And amongst the realms involved, being the realm of the dead, Wolfsbane's old lover, Hermari, is back with their kid. So, yeah, fun times. Moving on to last book for this video, War of the Realms: The Punisher, #2. Where we left off here, Punisher basically agreed to escort a group of doctors and injured through the Lincoln Tunnel into New Jersey. And he had recruited a group of prisoners to help him. It's not exactly... So far, it's going alright. The prisoners are basically being the meat shields that Punisher meant for them to be. Frank's trying to save ammunition just because, well, he doesn't really have access to, all the bullets in the world. And so they make their way through. And they get to the state line in the tunnel. They continue forward. But as they continue to make their way through, killing fire against fire demons, more of them get injured or killed. And then Punisher himself gets knocked out by one of the prisoners, who decides that now is as good a time as any to talk about what happens when they get to New Jersey. And that is it for this week's War of the Realms tie-ins. We are definitely in the midpoint. I think, if I remember correctly. Yeah. Oh boy. Wow. So yeah. Anyway, as always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Hit notification. Hit the bell icon to be notified. Hit the bell icon to be notified when I put new content. And this is links to my Facebook, Twitter, and Patreon are in the description box down below. This is Rock and Roll Spock signing off, saying, live long and rock hard.